Dit is volleyballen.
Nah, you know what? Sorry, everyone. I'm doing it again. What do you mean you're doing it again? I'm restarting. I didn't like how that went. That throw in, it just didn't sit right with me. So everyone, back in position. You can't just... Why is there a director at the side of the pitch? Look, I'm shutting this whole thing down. That's a handball. You're already on a yellow card, so now you're getting a red. Nah, unfortunately, that's not how my story goes. I'm going back in time. Can't just... How are you reversing time? Just accept that you handled the... Why are the Avengers here? For God's sake. This is a women's Eredivisie game. We don't need... Yo guys, it is your boy Nirin here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, what's the difference between a car and a golf ball? Well, Tiger Woods can drive a golf ball 300 yards. Yeah, rip in peace, yet another one of this man's SUVs. Turns out the PGA Tour stands for plentiful gallons of alcohol, as Tiger Woods once again combined a Cadillac Escalade with 17 Jaeger bombs. This man can't help himself on a simple 4-minute drive to Tesco. Rumours are suggesting that he's done a breathalyzer test and it just said yes on it. Sir, I asked you to walk in a straight line and you asked me how I know if the line is gay or not. On it legitimately, Tiger Woods versus Wesley Fofana would go absolutely nuts if they were fighting on how much vehicular damage they could do across a calendar year. On to the football though now, and there's been despicable scenes in the shop. There's a Kit Kat thief on the loose. He's stolen an entire truck full of the shit.
There you go, 3 munchies.
Did you snick this? Tasty.
The secret ingredient is crime.
The footballing world took inspiration from this as it took a break for international duty. This is brilliant for me. I don't have to be depressed by Liverpool threatening to play a game of football. At least there's never any depression when it comes to international football. No, am I right? This international break saw nations fighting for a final chance to play at Gianni Infantino's cocksucking this summer.
Today I feel gay.
The European and also intercontinental playoffs were taking place to settle the final 48-team roster, and one side in all of this was Italy. The Mamma Mia merchants have developed somewhat of a phobia to World Cup tournaments recently, boycotting this entire thing before it was fashionable. The 3-time winners had failed to qualify for the 2018 and 2022 competitions. Meanwhile, in 2010 and 2014, they got grouped. So in the playoffs here, in the semi-finals, they knocked out what appears to be me. A valiant Northern Ireland was swept aside by a Sandro Tonali masterclass, and elsewhere, Wales were facing Bosnia. Things started well for the Welsh when Dan James got a goal of the week. With this strike, I don't even know why brother had his even shot from here. Bosnia's goalkeeper wasn't too pleased about this one flashing past him.
That was too hard. Someone's gonna get hurt if you kick it that hard.
But the game would go to extra time and penalties, and Brennan Johnson hit the fastest rising object in the past 7 days. In the same week, NASA sent Artemis 2 to the literal moon. Now, with all of this going on, the only other thing rising was in Vicario's Calvin Klein's. You see, Wales had taken inspiration from their greatest ever footballer, Gareth Bale, and refused to play any more football. This was to the delight of Tottenham's goalkeeper. He celebrated this result. He celebrated Bosnia beating Wales on penalties, seemingly because he thought Bosnia were weaker opposition and they'd have a better chance of beating them in the playoff final. I sure hope that doesn't come back to haunt him.
Not too sure that was a clever move.
Italy's clash with Bosnia would then start well in the final as Moise Keane gave Italy the lead, but an Alessandro Bastoni red card completely derailed them and Bosnia would equalise. The game would go to extra time and penalties where Rigatoni United suffered heartbreak. They completely shagged it. There were incredible scenes for Bosnian supporters qualifying for the World Cup here at 2026. Balkan fans giving Italy a real sense of home. They'd even got their own visas ready to travel to the US. Under the sex segment, it says yes please, fuck's sake man. Italy had self-sabotaged, spontaneously combusted and pulled themselves out of a World Cup tournament once again. It might have been April Fool's Day this week, but it turns out these guys are fools every month of the year. Guys, this is a 48-team tournament and Italy are not in it, bro. Haiti and Curacao are in this joint. Iraq and Uzbekistan are in this rave and Italy got turned away at the door. They're coming Rome. Without a trophy. They're just going through border control. Bosnia's manager, I'm sure, was waiting for Vicario at the airport upon seeing him celebrate getting drawn against them. As soon as they celebrated that, by the way, it was over. I just hope everyone knows that. The scriptwriters were not gonna let that one fly. And now Italy's special World Cup shirts, they're gonna have to get unreleased. Spare a thought for Bastoni, by the way. His red card really the difference maker. I think they go on to win the game if it's not for that. This man's gonna have a difficult time trying to gotta get out of Italy now. We've gotta get this man out of that country stat before he gets arrested at Bologna airport. Gianluigi Donnarumma made his debut for Italy at max at the age of 14, and he's gonna be about 35 by the time he plays at a World Cup. He's played the same amount of World Cup games as me. There's at least a little part of me that takes solace in the fact that Fabrizio Romano's absolutely fuming. He was probably posting Bosnian players' actual addresses and national insurance numbers on Twitter after this defeat as revenge, or either that or he's busy writing an opinion piece on Mason Greenwood making England's World Cup squad. Italy turned into a different kind of Italy, genuinely, when there's like a World Cup qualification on the line. Meanwhile, Gennaro Gattuso was getting emotional at Sandro Tonali when the Newcastle midfielder suggested making tactical changes after Bastoni's red card.
I'm not looking for advice on my team! I really like this!
The only way they're playing at a World Cup in the near future is if they host one. These lot have not played a World Cup knockout game since the invention of the iPhone. Their last World Cup knockout win was them winning the 2006 World Cup final. Just take that in, a footballing nation like Italy. The home of Serie A. Unfortunately, they're unserious. Zinedine Zidane's fucking massive cranium must have cursed these lot for good. Friend of the channel, Neve or Stunt Peg, explained really eloquently on James Alcott's podcast a lot of the reasons as to why Italy have been struggling so much, including, you know, the fact that young players in Italy don't get a chance in Serie A, including the fact that a lot of players are taught tactics when they're young rather than actual technical footballing ability, which is of course why Italy have such a massive glaring lack of wingers, strikers, or particularly exciting footballers of any kind. Release the Baggio files right now. I just can't believe these lot cock-blocked us at Euro 2020. That's the most devastating thing. It's been a big week for destructive Italians, to be fair, as professional psychopath Roberto De Zerbi was announced as Tottenham manager. I say that mostly because of the fact that he's taken the job in the first place, but also because of his human rights record when dealing with difficult situations as manager. This, of course, comes after the news that Igor Tudor, the original interim, has now been sacked before he could even get to the end of his short-term spell at the club. Tudor is Tudor. No, not really, clearly. Antonin Kinski's at least gassed seeing this man walk out of the door for the final time, but it never really worked. I mean, Igor was supposed to come in and basically, you know, put out the fires, really, and he has a good record of doing that, coming in and immediately, you know, changing up a squad, making them cohesive and at least getting instant results. He wasn't even really able to do that at Spurs. They're too far gone, and of course had suffered really his own personal trauma as well that's been going on, family bereavement that Tottenham clearly didn't have a huge amount of empathy for.
Well, that's awful, but it's not relevant, is it?
He only grabbed 1 point in his time in the Premier League, and it was against Arne fucking Slot. Of course it was, brother. We enabled this tomfoolery, bro.
If you are backing this shit, you are an enabler.
Yves Bissouma was quick to post a thank you to the gaffer on his Insta story. Just for some reason, this is so funny, because, like, do you even know, bro? Like, do you know what his kids are called, fam? Yves Bissouma's done this post like 4 times this season already. Dejan Kulusevski last played for Spurs 3 managers ago. Either way, De Zerbi has a reputation for being very fiery, something that I'm not sure is going to work necessarily in the short term at Spurs. It's going to be a whole different kind of Tottenham bottling about to happen when Roberto smashes a Heineken pint over a charlatan's forehead for taking off his shirt during his celebrations.
You know what I might do is I might smash into somebody just to make me feel better.
A man said Spurs deserve it if they go down. That's class. That is great work. This, honestly, guys, this has the... I talked about it in this video here, but this has the potential to either work amazingly, because he's a good manager, or go absolutely cataclysmically. By the way, this Tottenham squad is going to be looking a little bit different after 12 months of De Zerbi management, given his record at Marseille.
For Hell FC, the worst people in history. It's Idi Amin in goal, Joseph Stalin, Saddam Hussein, and Judas in the middle with Robert Mugabe sitting in defensive midfield.
This week also saw the release of the official World Cup anthem, or World Cup song, and it is absolutely catastrophic. Made by Jelly Roll and a man that I've never heard of, they've decided to create the most American song of all time, even though Mexico and Canada are also hosting this tournament, which I think they've forgotten about at this point, let's be real. Who the fuck asked for Jelly Roll, bro? Like, genuinely, I don't even think Jelly Roll asked for Jelly Roll. You know, for me, I'm very passionate about music, okay? And we've had some incredible World Cup songs in the past, right? They give this feeling of unity, they give this feeling of a global event, they give this feeling of happiness, even just general summer vibes at the very least. And that's felt within the lyrics, but if you read the lyrics of this song, they are appalling in comparison. I was shackled and battling in a war with myself. I was praying and praying my way out of that hell. Bro's talking about broken down Chevys. Never felt this free before. I'm high and I'm getting higher. Fam, this is just generic was. This has no connection to football. This has no connection to a global spirit whatsoever. The lyrics are boring, are bland. It just sounds like it was generated on ChatGPT by a music exec whilst eating lightly sugared bran flakes. Whoever wrote this, whoever made this all round, has no understanding of what an actual World Cup song should be. If you read this to anybody, the last thing they would think of is that it has anything to do with the World Cup. They'd more likely think it was a song written to advertise a 2018 Honda Accord. Polish fans, you won't have to worry about hearing this one though, because they lost to Sweden in the final of the playoffs. Victor Gyökeres had scored a hat-trick against Ukraine to take them through the semis and was on the mic afterwards.
I'm 18 stone, I'm heavy. It's hard work.
Robert Lewandowski's hopes of a last World Cup to end his international career potentially are ending in tears though, as they were defeated 3-2 by a late Gyökeres goal. Sweden finished bottom of their World Cup group and qualified. Yeah, sound. Yeah, no, great. That's just exactly how qualifying should work. I'm really happy that's the case.
The game's gone.
The game's gone.
Game's gone. Game's gone.
Bun off this Nations League qualification shit. I don't give a fuck, mate. Just bun off the Nations League all round. Like, genuinely. I honestly, wholeheartedly believe it should have no impact on qualification for other tournaments. Another team going to the World Cup, though, is Turkey. And that meant that Romania this week was just pure sadness this week. I don't know, there's a mad thing going on in the background of a throw-in in a duel between these two. And it would mean that Turkey would face off against Kosovo in the final of playoffs. A Kosovan commentator was going absolutely nuts in the semis as they defeated Slovakia. Meanwhile, Arda Güler was preparing for the clash by becoming a Formula 1 driver. This man looks like he's about to be delivered the most catastrophic strategy of all time.
Must be the water.
And he's honestly probably better qualified to drive a Formula 1 car than Tiger Woods right now, at the very least. I'm devastated there's going to be a lack of Kosovo at this World Cup, you know, given the storyline of them, but they should still hold their heads up very, very high. An amazing effort for a nation that played their first ever football match in 2014. Meanwhile, the Republic of Ireland faced off against Czechia for a chance at the World Cup. One couple having their wedding day in Prague on the day of the game. They're not going to forget this one. And Ireland took the lead early with a penalty here. There were limbs in Irish pubs across the globe that had participants as breathless as Tennessee this week. But Czechia would come back from behind and win this one on penalties as well. The game was then being replayed at Prague Airport as Irish fans arrived to go home, and they're now having to watch Declan Rice at a World Cup instead of them. It's a bad day at the office. Now, England would of course have some international games to play too. So having already qualified, we were playing friendlies. One against Uruguay and one against Japan. But it'd be featuring very limited Arsenal players. You see, a total of 11 players for the Gunners dropped out of international duty due to injuries. Mikel Arteta could be seen threatening to take their grandfathers hostage if they don't come home for the title race. Yeah, I saw Bukayo Saka walk into England training and I think that he's pretending. I'm not gonna lie to you. Martin Zubimendi was apparently feeling pain for Spain. I know as soon as he arrives back at Arsenal, he's gonna be a new man. I'm hearing rumours the dog is being called back from his walk, you know, just in case. Shirts are being pulled out of the washing machine for the kit man. 11 players is a joke, by the way. I can see through this. I know what they're doing. But equally, you gotta win the league by any means necessary. England's first game would be against Uruguay. Not a crazy amount to report, apart from the fact it ended in a draw thanks to a late goal from the South Americans. Jed Spence was getting grief for not singing the national anthem. Meanwhile, Ben White was also getting booed by England fans due to the fact that at one point he didn't want to play for England. Lads, what you're not failing to realise is it's literally in his name. Ben White. And red for England and patriotism. You just don't see that part in his government name. Honestly, I think the most interesting thing from the international break is probably this England fan downing 3 pints of Guinness in the space of 16 seconds.
Go on, Ben. Go on, lad. 16!
The lack of intrigue or anything interesting going on for England continued against Japan. I didn't watch this game, I'll be brutally honest with you. I had a much better time watching sticks of celery grow in the wild. I'd rather start a YouTube channel dedicated to tier listing war crimes than watching Tu Caliban. The biggest crime against humanity was on show here. We trialed a lot of different things against a really strong Japanese side, in fairness. We look pretty bland and toothless in attack, but I doubt this is how we're going to actually start games in the group stages of the World Cup. Either way, Japan became the first first Asian team to ever win at Wembley, you're telling me nobody out of England's defence has read Kaoru Mitoma's dribbling thesis yet? It's been years, guys. Yeah, whilst we don't look as imbalanced as previous England sides, we also just don't look as good, certainly in terms of strength of depth, and I'm a little bit concerned about the way we're playing going into this World Cup tournament. Senegal, though, have no concerns in the world. They might have been stripped to the AFCON trophy according to Wikipedia, but they are still holding on to that thing like their lives depend on it, adding an extra star to their kit, and then parading the African Cup of Nations trophy around in person before defeating Peru 2-0. They're fully just taking the piss out of CAF at this stage. That trophy is in the army base, bro, protected, 5-star fed. Sadio Mane's ordered 15 guards on it at all times. Just Google Sadio Mane 15. In the Intercontinental World Cup playoffs though now, and Jamaica and DR Congo were fighting for a spot at the World Cup. Jamaica got into the playoff final after beating New Caledonia 1-0, and I heard this country existed for the first time at maximum 3 weeks ago. New Caledonia, bruv. They ain't even got an old one, you know. Jamaica need to have a long hard look at themselves. Shout out to New Caledonia, because, you know, 1-0 as a scoreline, have done well there. Fam, 1-0 only to North Patagonia. New Ambrosia, bro. This is poor form. Well, it didn't look that great when they then faced off against DR Congo. They were trying to reach their first World Cup in 28 years, but Dr. Congo prescribed Jamaica with pain as they reached the finals thanks to Axel Tuanzebe.
Meeting me Guan Tech me own life.
The Congolese standing man from AFCON is going to be delighted, except he's not allowed to go to the tournament because apparently he's not going to get a visa. I can't even watch a man stand anymore, for God's sake. France were on international duty facing off against Brazil and Colombia. They beat Colombia with Desiree Doué scoring his first goal for his nation. Meanwhile, dictator Mao Mbappe was reluctant to share out a chocolate bar. Kim Jong-Mbappe, meanwhile, was demanding that the captain's armband was handed to him when he came off the bench, and his teammates may be happy to realise that he's actually good at a different sport, so he doesn't have to commit war crimes against them in the dressing room anymore. It was a beautiful goal from Hugo Ekitike, an outside-of-the-boot assist, providing an outside-of-the-boot little dink as well. Meanwhile, Michael Elise couldn't stop himself from going and signing a Bayern Munich shirt when he saw a fan holding one. Brazil, as I mentioned, were also involved in French activities this week, an international break, and Igor Thiago made his debut. Brazil's number 9 starts for Brentford, and I can't work out if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Current R9 probably gets into this team though, wallahi, I swear down. Meanwhile, 2 Brazilian brothers in the crowd weren't concerning themselves with selection issues, they were just punching the living daylights out of each other instead. Belgium faced off against one of the hosts of the World Cup in the United States of America and absolutely slapped them. The kit clash here though was an absolute travesty. Everyone's kit's going the same wash, lads. Like, that's not how this is supposed to be. MLS posted aura for the American side. Brother, you lost 5-2. Like, it's a wrap for you. I don't think you understand. Footballers from America gassed when they lose by 8 goals, but they get a cold photo for Instagram out of it. In Germany, they defeated Switzerland 4-3 in a humdinger of a friendly, where we've got another goal of the week for this episode, as Florian Wirtz picked up the ball from a short corner and thumped it into the top corner. I think it skims the crossbar as well. This is what Florian Wirtz can do when he's not being managed by a world-renowned terrorist. Off the bench would come Leonard Carl in this one, who might actually be the smallest footballer in the world. He's like a 12-year-old younger brother wanting to jump on the Xbox 360. His Panini sticker for the World Cup is going to look very different to everybody else's. At Mexico versus Portugal, and the best thing about this game was the 4.8 billion metric tons of fireworks beforehand, because this one literally had 3 shots in it. In Spain, and Ferran Torres was purposefully pouring Volvic over himself to try and looks max. Meanwhile, Pedri met a very, very emotional fan of Pedri. In Morocco, and Issa Diop made his debut for the North African side. Bam, they stole AFCON, and then they stole this Donny from Senegal as well. His granddad played for and managed Senegal, and he's gone to Morocco.
You are a Judas.
Next up in terms of teams that are preparing for the World Cup, and at Jordan, they faced off against World Cup recluses Nigeria, and there was a full-on scrap in it. Guys, we should be going to the World Cup, not engaging in fisticuffs with Jordan. Meanwhile, at Norway, and not content with one emotionless supercomputer, a new Erling Haaland has just dropped, except it's kind of deep-faked, but he still kind of looks a little bit like him anyway. Up in Liverpool now, and at Anfield, a side of Liverpool legends faced off against the side of former Borussia Dortmund players, with Jurgen Klopp managing the Liverpool team. I'm going to be begging him to stay, brother. I will hold that man hostage in my basement to make sure he takes over from Arne Slot again. Now, there were some emotional scenes. This, of course, the first Liverpool Legends match that's happened since the tragic passing of Diogo Jota. So the game stopped and paused at the 20-minute mark to commemorate him, whilst the players and fans alike applauded. There was a wide variety of players involved in this one. One you may not have expected was Jay Spearing, but he actually scored the goal of the game as the ball came back to him and he rifled it back into the top corner. This is nuts. Like, what a finish. Legends is starting to stretch though here when Ryan Babel's involved. Meanwhile, Peter Crouch looked like an actual normal human being next to Borussia Dortmund former striker Voller, who's 6'8". Honestly, I beg we get Gerrard back in our midfield. Lads, I'm being so deadly serious. Our scouts have come to the sudden realization. They're taking notes watching Gerrard and Jay Spearing in this midfield. Stevie will be struggling to communicate with Mo Salah for the final months of the season when he signs for the club for our run-in.
Tell me then.
I ain't watched football like this at Anfield all season, and half the players have got arthritis. Kieran Trippier, meanwhile, was getting nutmegged by his brother at a wedding this week, and one mum revealed that a kid wanted to dress like Sean Dyche this week. I'm not gonna lie, you got it spot on, little bro. That's good work. At Bristol City now, and Roy Hodgson has been named as their new manager.
Can somebody just tell me who the second best managerial rivalry in the Premier League is right now?
Hodgson v's life. He is struggling, he's battling.
Fam, guys, the guy's geriatric, man. Like, this is actually tough. He got sacked by this club 44 years ago. We were at war for the Falklands Islands when he was last there. He was asked whether he'd be taking this role on a slightly longer term basis, and his answer, well, it was pretty definitive.
Is there any potential for it to be longer term at all?
No. No, I'm too old.
Meanwhile, Brighton women were in great form this week as they actually managed to beat Brighton women. They're going to be trying to sign the striker that scored against them. I know they're going to try and make that one happen.
Sign the contract, big boy. Sign the contract.
Now, though, time for your goals of the week. Got a couple more bangers for you. We've seen a few already today, but I don't think we've seen any from a centre-back. We head to Russia now, where Vladislav Volkov, who plays for Velas Moscow, has been given the ball about, 40 yards from goal. He's not been closed down and failed to close this man down at your peril, because Vladislav has cracked it into the top corner from range. But I think the best goal of the week, honestly, comes from Brazil. Mirassol are playing against Botafogo. They're 1-0 up already and they've got themselves a corner. Botafogo get the ball clear. Jalon chests it down and on the half volley, brother pummels it back where it came from, right into the top corner, looping over the goalkeeper. Hello all and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty. And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now, in other non-international duty news, Eden Hazard took part in a long-arse cycling race this week. He's traded the football boots for bike pedals, but it's great to see him keeping his fitness up and doing other things. People have compared Mo Salah to him for a lot of his time in the Premier League, and there was a lot of discourse this week because Mo Salah's obviously leaving Liverpool with lots of things won, and Eden Hazard is currently, I don't know, doing up Tour de France settings. But I think this is a good thing, and maybe he can even combine it with football later down the line. St. Vincent and the Grenadines played this week in a Caribbean friendly, and one of their goal scorers celebrated by pretending to be a FIFA AI player stuck in the net. This is great. This is absolutely amazing, bro. Best celebration of the year so far. Nestori Irankunda of Watford, who is Australian, pulled out a unique celebration this week as well. Someone gave him a glove and he started doing Michael Jackson behavior. I have to clarify musically, because that really could, I guess that could be anything. One page over on Twitter was giving some props to Wolfsburg for using AI to prepare and delegate its cost cutting for the year. That's going really well, given they're 17th in the league and currently in the relegation zone. Elsewhere now, we've got the craziest pass of all time. I don't know how man's actually managed to look like he sat down mid-air whilst passing the ball forward, but it's the biggest crime of all time that this doesn't end in the back of the net. Next up, we've got a referee who needs to give a penalty. He might want to give an extra foul, to be honest. focused on him from the air because I'll be real, like he's been taken down in the area too. This might be 2 pens. Speaking of penalties, and in the world of futsal, we've got a big one about to be taken, but the keeper comes out on top and makes the save. Now the opponents have got the chance to spring a counter-attack. The original taker, feeling bad, feels like he's got to track back and get in the way. So he gets in the way and puts the ball in the back of his own net. Not a great 20 seconds for this man, not gonna lie. In Singapore, and one of their players, Nathan Mao, was playing for Singapore over the international break, but by the time the week was done, he was back doing army duty, as he posted over on Insta. In the world of TikTok now, we've got a granny on a mad thing, like doing up. She's going crazy on the ball, and the TikTok comments are absolutely nuts, bro. Robin Gran Percy, Sergio bus pass, Victor Gyökeres. I know that defender was fuming when he got beaten by an 87-year-old called Janice.
I nearly broke Nanny's leg. These things happen, unfortunately.
At Sao Tome and Principe now, they were playing against Ethiopia. Only their goalkeeper, well, he's not had a great day at the office, really. It's a pretty poor effort, like, trying to get out of trouble here. Meanwhile, Philip Mango produced an equally good goalkeeping howler for the Solomon Islands. Man, go home. We don't need him on the pitch, am I right? And in Spain, how about this for a mental end to a game? A 7-goal thriller all round between Osasuna B and Guadalajara, but 3 goals after the 90th minute. Yeah, absolutely insane. Now though, it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring to you the best of Sunday League and amateur football. And look, emotions can be high at Sunday League level. There's often, like, there can be a little bit of aggression. But I think we've genuinely got a contender for the most unnecessarily angry player of all time. Because why this Donny feels the need to start trying to scrap everybody? Like, he's not even just squaring up, right? Bro's like getting his fists out. Like, he wants to have a fight. I've seen this type of man before in Prison Brighton, okay? He's going to get knocked out. I'm not entirely sure why he's going for it so much. It's gotten to the point where he's got himself sent off. He even tried to square up, pushing his own teammates away, trying to get into fisticuffs whilst already on a yellow card. Like, he quite literally had a warning for this. On to the weird stuff though now. First of all, we start with, it's a pretty simple one really, a pretty massive scoreline in Armenia. You might have heard of FC Noah for their exploits in the Conference League. They played Chelsea in that competition a couple of years ago, and you know, they're one of the biggest sides in Armenia. They're definitely one of the biggest sides in Armenian women's football, because their women's side won 35-0 this week. I mean, at what point do we just call off the game? Like, at what point does the opposition just say, look, we're handing in the towel, can we just take the 3-0 forfeit? And finally, we head to our favourite European minnows, San Marino. San Marino, of course, known for largely being the worst team in the world, but their results have been getting a lot better recently. Except the TV companies in the country clearly don't care yet, because instead of showing their game against the Faroe Islands that was actually happening live, they decided to show a rerun of a European game that a San Marinese team was involved in from 2009 instead. That though is going to wrap up football this week. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.